Alrighty, good morning, everyone. January 23rd, 2026. I'm not sure what episode this is of the podcast for the fifth year, but I am joined by Shannon Brooke. Um,
Shannon Bit.
Vi-
So it's Shannon Brooke on Facebook,
yes.
but it's Shannon Bit.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
just
you
my
ha
middle
you
name.
you have that in there. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I do apologize for the butchering and that sort of thing. So but yeah, so you are a book author, public speaker. Again, I love to connect with people that, kind of outside of the playing and that sort of thing and, different than, the athlete because my wife and I, we've billeted hockey players and that sort of thing. You realize there is that mental aspect to it. So, what kind of got you intrigued into being an author, being a public speaker?
Hmm. Um, well, first came public speaking,
Hmm.
which I hated my entire life, actually. Like when I was in university, I was the one that um, I was sick like the week before, knowing that I had to public speak in front of my class,
Yeah.
which was, nothing compared to what I do now. But when I got into this type of coaching role,
Hmm.
I knew in order for me to help as many people as I could worldwide, I had to get over that fear of public speaking because just doing one-to-ones, you're not really going to help that many people, right?
Right.
And I wanted to work with teams and things like that, do group events. So that fear, I needed to overcome it, which I went to my coach. My coach did hypnosis. So it was like one session basically. I got over the fear.
Hmm.
And then public speaking is basically just a skill. So from then it's just getting comfortable, knowing like, the steps. So knowing your material, getting comfortable, practicing and all of that. And now, I mean, I seek out opportunities to public speak. So yeah. And then as an author, well, that wasn't even something I ever dreamt about really. It's just there were a lot of people that I wasn't able to help. Maybe they couldn't afford my services or for whatever reason it was. Um, and I thought if I can put together a book uh, that could outline some of the things, like obviously when I'm working with people, I'm using things like neuro-linguistic programming and clinical hypnosis, those modalities to create change very, very quickly.
Hmm.
Um, but if I could give them some strategies that would be usable right away, um, I, I thought it was a really great way of getting it out there to everybody, basically. Mhm.
Good, good. And so has this been over the last 10 years, 5 years, that sort of thing?
So, out of university, I did more mental health work, which I still do. So I've worked like, crisis at the hospital. I did child protection, behavior therapy, different things like that. Um, I just, those roles are really difficult and they're very much different than a coaching role. So I decided to take on coaching. When I first became a coach, I actually only worked with anxiety and PTSD.
Hmm.
So, and because of the modalities that I use, somebody with PTSD, so say for an incident of something, um, they could overcome that incident that was causing them physical grief, like within a session. Then from there, I had some parents reach out to me for anxiety with their athletes. So the first client actually that I had was a swimmer, and she used to get sick before her races, like physically sick, and just it affected her competition. So I worked with her a few times, met with her a few times, and her next competition, she came back. She had 4 gold medals. She beat all of her personal best records. And then I was like, whoa, like this is the best. Like this is what I need to do.
Right.
So I started taking some courses in sports psychology to add to um, my education and everything that I had already known about working in like the therapy type roles. Um, But coaching's different because you're more like that forward focused, and we're not, I don't even need to know people's content of negative things because of the modalities that I use. So that's kind of how that came about. And honestly, I live in a hockey town. We have the Sioux Greyhounds, just a lot of like, the double A, triple A teams, junior A. Across the river, we have Lake Superior State Lakers. Like it's just lots of hockey here. And it basically, if you don't like hockey, you don't really fit in. So it has been like my entire life. I have three brothers. Um, so yeah, it kind of exploded for me in the hockey realm, which is something I resonate with. So I do work with other athletes, but I'm going to say 95% of who I work with are hockey players. And it started out locally and now it's expanded. So I work with athletes from all ages, um, to all divisions all over the world because, with technology and internet, I can hop on and work with people everywhere, which is interesting and fun
It
because,
is, yeah, because
yeah.
you got the you got the Zooms, or a few years ago it was a Skype. I'm not sure if that's still around, but yes, yeah, with mental health, right? In hockey, if the player's not playing very much, we've seen that with I can't when you're saying this, I think of names like Rip Ripken, passed away in 2011. The
Mhm.
Wade Belak, some tragic stories. And then again, if yeah, so
We're seeing them every day,
we
right?
are.
Like
Yes.
I think it's a lot of pressure when you're getting to these pro levels.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, let's face it, these players have been playing since they were 4 years old. This is their life. They don't really know much more outside of hockey,
Yeah.
right? Eat, sleep, breathe, hockey.
Hmm.
Um, even school secondary, realistically, right? Like, so when things aren't going their way, or if things have gone their way and then all of a sudden they're not, these are major things that you have to overcome. Or just like simply, maybe they're still, playing well, but now they have to move away and they're staying with the billet. It's a huge transition. So I work with like players on things like that as well, not just their player to elevate how they play, but for things like that as well. Like, and I always tell parents, don't coddle your children too much, especially like if you plan to have them going off when they're, 14 years old,
Hmm.
if they don't know how to take care of themselves at all, that is a huge obstacle when they get into a home with strangers, basically. It's just like another thing to add to the already pressured situation. So it's okay that they take the trash out and throw a load of laundry in. Teach them young.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to my wife having a thing of, yeah, if you're in the home, this is, this isn't a vacation. Here's a
Mhm.
list of things you need to do and be part of the household as a whole. So that's all encompassing, right? Um, yeah, yeah, there are names that are coming to my head with that. So yes, it is quite something. And again, we think of the guys like the Connor Bedards, oh, that just kind of have it quote easy. Well, no,
They have pressures. They have pressures that the public doesn't know about, though.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I hate to, kind of equate it to this, but hockey, when you're at the pro level, is kind of almost like prison. Like you're owned by a franchise and your days are like totally set out for you. So it's not like you don't have the freedoms that we see the glamour in it, but there's so much more to it than that.
Uh,
There's a lot of pressure.
Most definitely, you go number one pick. Things, some people would say he should be better. He lost his grandfather tragically in a car accident, if memory serves me correctly, a few years ago. So you got that playing in your head.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, this is a kid that would sell out the Saddle Dome in a WHL game. Like, just think about that for a minute. Like, that is insane.
It's
And
insane.
then you're off for a few weeks, and then your first game back versus the Jets. and then Taves comes back. So you can't help but that probably plays in his head.
For sure. So
Definitely.
that's where your mental game's super important
Hmm.
because even if you're not playing, there's mental practices that you can do that keep you in the game when you're not in the game. So for even for things like injury, right?
Right.
And we know that you can speed up the process of healing through injury, through mental imagery, because your healing process comes from the subconscious level.
Hmm.
So if your subconscious heals your body and you're using your subconscious through imagery, you can actually heal quicker.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They say you learn something new every day. So
Mm.
get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did take a screenshot of. So yes, so that's all part of you're helping teams with strengthening their mindset, unlocking their full potential. So that's all part of it.
For
Um,
sure.
and s-
Elevating their game. I
right.
mean, when you're I always try to explain the brain as it's a computer. It's like you're a supercomputer, right?
Hmm.
So if we're feeding this computer the right information and good, clear information that's intentional, it's going to change your thoughts, create your life, right?
Right.
So if you're if you're transitioning that into a hockey sense, if you're doing all those what ifs, well, your brain's processing the what ifs. You really want to get clear on what you're trying to achieve, right?
Hmm.
So that's like one of the first things that I'm teaching players and teams is to really get intentional. I always use the analogy if you're you know going to get you want to buy yourself a new stick and you go into the Google search engine and you put twig, like what's going to come up? Like it's going to be like all this twigs, trees, and somewhere down near the bottom, you do. I've done it just to see. Somewhere near the bottom, hockey sticks will come up. But if you put in that exact stick that you want, what
Hmm.
comes up? That exact hockey stick, right?
Right.
So your brain works much like that. You want to get really clear and detailed so it knows what it's trying to achieve.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I mean being in the retail world, it's there's goals and there's metrics you always want to keep hitting and then some months, yeah, you hit them and then it's like, hey, well, what do I have to do to hit them again? And it's just always a regroup.
Consistency.
So,
Yeah.
yes, it's a
Well,
mindset thing.
I think too, one of the big things is in order to hit them, you have to believe in yourself. And that's a thing, like at a subconscious level, we oftentimes have a lot of limiting beliefs that prevent us from achieving our goals. So that's one of the things too that I help my players and teams with is overcoming those beliefs that get in the way of achieving your goals.
Well, this may be
Because
an obvious question or an answer to the question. Why do you think that is? I mean, we are involved in, or we live in a world of so much negativity. What's the Canadian dollar? It's minus whatever outside. It's
for sure
why do you think that is in particular?
that we have the limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
So your brain, up until about 9 or 10 years old, it's actually going at the frequency as being in a hypnotic state.
Hmm.
So during that time, anybody of authority, anything that they say to you, you actually take as a direct suggestion. Even if a person didn't mean it exactly like that, like it could have been something sarcastic, but up to that stage, you're very literal as well. So it could be something that like a coach that they overheard a coach say, or a teacher or a parent or an aunt or an uncle that would affect them. It's deeply rooted in a belief that they're not even aware of. I actually have a whole theory about Toronto, just to give an example here. So Toronto Maple
1960,
Leafs. I'm not a
1965.
fan of them
Right.
myself.
Right.
I guess I should be. I'm from Ontario, but I'm not. But I do feel if I spent 1 hour with every one of those teammates, they would win a cup. They've had the team to be able to do it. But I believe, aside from, all of the other pressures, they all have a deeply rooted belief that they're going to choke during playoffs. And let's face it, they do.
Yeah.
Every year they do. So the example here is when they were 4 or 5 years old, playing mini sticks in front of the TV, watching the games,
Mhm.
they've heard commentators who they look up to say, "Oh, Toronto has a great team, blah, 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 blah," but they always choke when playoffs come. So at a subconscious level, which is 95% of your brain, subconscious level, they have this belief that they will choke. So they get out there and play. They don't even realize that they have this belief that needs to be removed. And if they removed it and installed something else that, that they have the team um, and truly, truly believed it, then I believe that they could win a cup sometime this century. Yeah.
Well, it's only been since 1967, but yes, they're right because if
The
you
oldest player on the team's like 35, 36 years old. So they were
right,
already saying when they were 4 or 5 years old that they joke. They'd not won in so many years,
right,
right?
yeah, none of them were really well. I mean, Morgan Riley would have been whatever 4 years old, so you're looking at nine. Well, with 93, 93, 94, they go to those Final Four games, you know, within the Final Four of the conference. They're up 2-0 last year versus Florida. And I've watched it on Prime and you just see it like, they choke in that game three and that gave Florida all the momentum to come back.
For sure.
And it's just,
Deeply rooted. It's deeply rooted. They don't like so I think that's one of like definitely one of the things for them.
hmm,
That would
exactly.
be because they have great talent. I mean, they had a little bit of lack of goaltending, in my opinion,
Well, I
too.
mean, you can blame maybe Sam Bennett for that indirect accidental hit. There's video evidence, but yes, yeah. So right, it's just the Pat Burns, the Pat Quinns, yeah, that totally makes it because if I go back to even our junior team when they won their championship here in Steinbach in 2013, that was a crazy night when they won the championship. This team, the players didn't even want to be here up until that point till they won that championship. And he says in the celebration, forget who it was now, but I can picture his face. He goes, "We don't suck anymore." And ever since then, they've been on this run. And dare I say, that's a reason why we have this new rink. And they've gone to RBCs and they've just, when parents come here, they just think highly of this place now, and they hear about this. And back at a fire and ice banquet years ago, um, yeah, 3 years ago, they actually had the 10-year reunion, and that comment was made. We don't suck anymore. Like we are legit, and this is what we're doing. And it is that belief system that
100%.
yeah, it's
It's a belief system in life. Like
mhm,
it's in life in general, right?
right,
So you have to constantly be challenging yourself when these negative thoughts come up because we are surrounded by so much negativity. When these negative thoughts come up, you have to think for a second, is that true? Like, is this 100% true? Or is this something, that I just think might be true?
right, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
is this my idea or is this the idea of somebody else? Like really critically thinking where these thoughts come from. Because that's the thing, the thoughts get interpreted by the brain. The brain sends a feeling into the body, right?
right, yeah,
That feeling, it's one of two. It's either fear or flow. That feeling dictates what your reality is.
right.
So you want to be a great player, you got to be in that flow state as much as you possibly can.
So how would you? I kid a bit, but how would you mark it up with Jeff Hoffman there in the bottom of the ninth? I mean, when Dan Schulman said we're not going to commercial break, it's okay to look. Like I'm pacing, and I'm thinking, and we know his struggles in the ninth inning. And again, I'm sure you haven't asked him, but what would you kind of chalk that up to? Because there were struggles along the season. Of course, he's the closer; he's supposed to do it. Okay, Dan, I'm gonna look, but then we saw one unfolded.
Like just the pressure too much. So when you're in a fearful state,
Mhm.
um, so fear equals fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
When your brain's in fight, flight, or freeze, parts of your brain shut down. So you can't think properly. You can't do what you would typically do because you're not completely there.
Hmm.
That's where you have to very quickly get yourself into that flow state where you're just clear, where it's clarity. And that's where like mental preparation and all of that comes in because you'd be working on scenarios like that. So when you're doing visualization preparation, you don't have the pressure on you. You can create, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So you can create these scenarios and your body will actually feel them, but you can train your body to get into flow so that you can perform at your best.
I
So I
see.
think I think that that's to perform your best, you have to be in a really great state, right? And mental preparation is what separates these players that have that ability to overcome any obstacle and the ones that don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right. And yeah, we see that with quarterbacks warming up or a goalie, that sort of thing. As you say, that the visualization, even in the junior level. Um, yeah, we were right behind the goalie net last game, and he's just kind of looking at us, but he's squirting water on his face. But I kind of know what he's doing there. He's visualizing the game and how that's being played out, right?
So when I work with goalies, I actually bring them through like a whole routine. Um, so basically, when they let a goal in, instead of getting flustered and losing it, getting into that fight, flight, or freeze, because you have to figure it, fearful emotions, it's all the negative emotions, right? So
Mhm.
as they're skating off, I have them changing how their brain processed that, feeding it really good information. And then by the time they get back to the net, they're really feeding it good information. You'll notice like goalies that I work with do things like, when they're tapping, they tap their posts anyway, but when they're tapping them, they're feeding their brain good information. By the time they get to the top of the crease, they are present. They're the goal's done. They're present again. And we have the ability to anchor feelings into our body. So I help them create a confidence anchor
Hmm.
to get them moving. So it could be like a jump or some of them tap their chest or whatever it is. So the brain is coded that when I jump on the ice at the crease, the confidence will flood through their body. And they're just ready. They're dialed in and they're ready to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brain's like miraculous. So when you use it and you use it to its full potential, like, I don't know, you're a superhero.
Yeah, it's that totally adds up, right? And again, getting in that mindset as you've talked about here. The book that you wrote, The Mental Edge, Creating the Mindset. So there's 10 strategies that you have in there. It is on Amazon.
It
So
is. I
for
actually have it
purchase.
right here.
Okay, right on.
So it's
Nice.
developing the mindset of a hockey champion.
Champion, yes.
Yep.
So how long has that book been out? What kind of went into that?
So
And
it
yeah.
just came out this summer.
Hmm.
Um, what went into it? Well, I was very intentional when I wrote it. I knew that I knew what I wanted. So basically, I kind of started mapping out. I started by mapping out what topics I kind of wanted to hit for the chapters. Then from there, I broke it down to the points that I wanted to have within each chapter. So I wanted to have a strategy. I wanted to bring in science because your brain always likes to have an answer to, it's always asking questions. So I wanted to make sure that there was the answer, you know, when I'm telling them to do I am statements, why I am statements actually work. So the science behind why, and then I tried to pull in a pro that we know has successfully done these strategies. And then to keep it really short. So the book itself is 65 pages. And I think that includes like all the, the beginning contents, all of that, the end of, references and things like that. Just because, not to say hockey players don't want to read books, but most hockey players don't want to read books, right? So I just wanted to give them something that was going to be very quick, to the point, with usable, right away usable techniques that they can use that were going to improve their game. So
Good.
then, yeah, so I kind of laid that part out, and then I went in and kind of wrote it, and then I tweaked it, and then I worked with my publisher and we tweaked it more. It took a long time to write 65 pages. It was a very long process, but it wasn't something like I gave myself a deadline, but I wasn't like I didn't it didn't matter. I just
Right.
wanted a good quality product out there.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
are you getting any feedback from it? Are the Sioux Greyhounds using it Monday nights? Any Google reviews, as they say?
So I think I only have one Google review, but I have review like people send me reviews in my inbox,
Mhm.
like through Facebook and that. I get all kinds of compliments on it, and then I tell them to put that on Google, and people don't put it on Google. So I think I don't even know. I think I only have one or two maybe on Google. But no, the Greyhounds, I actually hand delivered John Dean, the head coach of the Greyhounds, a book. Um, yeah. So I believe that, I speak with him on a pretty regular basis, and I think that there's like probably maybe some strategies that may have been taken. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I I think overall it is like I'd have to say it. I think it's a pretty great book. Like it will definitely, if my players, I always say to them, if you do what I tell you to do, your game's gonna get better. You're gonna be happier. You're gonna feel more confident. Just overall, your whole overall experience as a player is going to be better, because when you're confident and in a flow state, um, it feels good. It just feels good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
it totally does, right? And I know getting up in the morning, it's good to have that routine just generally, and you know, hop on here to do this before I get into my day. It's good, and I'll implement your strategies today. So that's all important.
All about being intentional, right? Feeding
Right,
that brain. Like I wake up at 5 in
right,
the morning, between 5 and 6, generally closer to 5. And I'm not a hockey player, but I use the strategies I teach in there for myself.
yeah,
And that's why I fulfill and like all the goals of, like, if I give myself a goal, I make sure it happens,
yeah.
because every day I'm very intentional with what I do.
Hmm.
And I'll say, like, today I am, and I'll say, like, so today I am the best mindset coach on the planet. 3 ways I'm going to make that happen. Just like really narrowing it down and figuring it out. Today I'm going to, give, today I'm going to receive, like just that sort of thing. And then I go into a meditation. And meditation, I'll tell you, has changed my life. Um, and I mean, I was diagnosed years ago with ADHD. Um, and I can meditate. So if anything, it helps it, because
Hmm.
you learn how to get yourself into that really quiet state. And some days I'm graceful to myself. Some days I can only do it for a couple of minutes, and other days I can sit there for a long time and be in that state. So it's just like, I don't know, being kind to yourself and working through, like, if you've never done mental practices before, in the beginning, it's difficult. And I always tell my players, the first time you did a squat, it didn't feel comfortable.
Right.
You questioned yourself, it felt weird. But once you did them over and over again, they got easier. And now you can do them with ease. Same thing with mental practice. At first, it's going to feel different. It's going to feel awkward and weird because you've never done it before. But the more you do it, it just becomes a part of your life, and you see miracles happen. That's the difference. You will see miracles happen.
So what type of miracles are you referring to? I mean, in today's day and age, we're so used to, okay, get up, get the coffee, get the kids out the door. And I've tried to take time, I'm a guy of faith. I do some Bible reading and I try to regularly and just kind of set my mind straight. But what type of miracles in particular are you referring to?
Okay, so here's one like that's recent, and I mean, I don't know if I really want to share this on here, but
All good.
okay, so I'm like you. I have like faith. Like I have like part of during my coaching journey, my spiritual faith became very strong.
Hmm.
So I in meditation was seeing myself. So I was married. I have a 10-year-old now. Um, and my ex-husband and I are very different people. He's a little bit more high strung, negative. Um, and it could have just been because he was unhappy with where he was in life. But regardless, in meditation, I used to see myself living in a very calm space. The three of us living in this very calm space. Um, and just like a very loving space. And it became apparent I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but after a couple of years of that, it was kind of like my mind was letting me know that I was never going to achieve this in this relationship. And I'd been with him for 22 years. Um, so it started giving me the courage to start really self-reflecting on what I could do to change my circumstance.
Mhm.
Now, with changing my circumstance, I was, offering counseling and all those things to try and work on it, but that wasn't happening. Um, he was even quoted saying that he actually loved feeling angry, which anger is a huge emotion. So it's not even negative. It just wasn't part of what I wanted to be a part of. Anyhow, so when I started to make the decision that, okay, I got to leave this marriage, um, I asked I'll say universe just to keep
Mhm.
everybody. I asked the universe, can you please show me a definite sign that this is what I should be doing and that I'm on the right track? And that was part of my morning routine. And I got like two pretty definite things that fell into my life that said, this is what you need to do. And they just kind of came out of nowhere. The first one was, and I wasn't even into this kind of thing, but a medium reached out to a friend of mine that and said that my stepfather that had passed away had reached out to him and said, little Mikey brought him to the other side. Little Mikey would have been my first son that died at birth. Um, like just gave evidence that this was kind of real. Like nobody would know this. And then said, tell Shannon not to worry or fret. And I was like, holy cow. But then I started to second guess that. And I was like, no, like worry or fret. Like what does that mean? Like don't worry or fret, like things are going to get better and I should like continue to try and work on it. And then so I said again, please just give me like a 100% guaranteed, like this is what I should be doing. And I went away for work down to Sarnia in London to work with some teams and players, and he cheated on me. So to me, like other people would be like, that's not those aren't even positive, but it was positive because I asked for I asked for direction. So these are miracles if you look at it in the perspective of my outcome was that I wanted to have a very calm and loving life, which I do now with my son, right? And I know that that's like totally off of hockey or sports, but it's life. These strategies that I teach, you can use in your life and to get that guidance from God, the universe, whatever we want to call it. Um, but you will see miracles happen when you connect your brain and your heart to something bigger than us. Just things land, and that's like a major one. That's like, you know, pretty pretty major and life changing. But even throughout that whole thing, because of the visualization process, I was able to maneuver through that like with calmness, which is not something 10 years ago I could have done. Like I would have been in sheer panic, right?
Right.
So I think,
Hmm.
yeah, like that's like these are massive things that if you start to really pay attention, miracles are out there to show you whether you're in alignment with where you're supposed to be going. And if you're not, things will happen to shift you into that.
Yep. Yeah, there are. Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying there.
You
Most
can totally
definitely.
delete that out if that was like,
Oh, I appreciate the authenticity and the openness. I do, because yeah, you're just making the parallel, right? And yeah. Any chance you're gonna be doing a book tour with it? Maybe come up to Winnipeg to McNally Robinson.
I've never really thought about it, but I mean, you never know, right? If I put it out there,
Mm.
I probably could figure something out. I actually do work with teams at West and
You.
players.
Okay.
So, I mean, for me, like it has to, it has to definitely work out where I feel like I'm, helping people along the way.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just think about with Winnipeg, you got two MJHL franchises, you got the Manitoba Moose, you got the Jets, of course. Um, Again, to bring it with the Jets, I mean, again, I brought up Bernard, but Gabe Velarde was opening an article about his anxiety and overthinking his shifts, and you think that's the greatest myth, right? And again, not to beat a dead horse too much, but oh, these guys make millions, they have no problems. That's not the case.
They for sure. And you know what? The thing is, people think anxiety once they have it because it's just like that word that's thrown out there.
Mhm.
Anxiety, anxiety. Oh, that's something I have. But anxiety is not something that you have. It's just a really bad habit that you got really good at. So you can overcome anxiety just like you can overcome any bad habit just
Mm.
by doing mindful. Years ago I was on anti-anxiety medication and doing the things that I teach, I was able to get myself off of anxiety medication. So, and be in control because your life is dictated by your thoughts. So you need to change your thoughts in order to change your life. You
Right.
need to change your thoughts in order to change your game.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. I 100% agree. That's so good. This has been so hopeful too. I really, again, awesome. Much appreciated.
I'm grateful that you asked me to come on. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
fun.
and it's just weird how, again, through social media, it makes it so easy and that sort of
It
thing.
does. It really does. Like as much as, I'm anti-social media, like I don't like I think it's become a bit too much and that, but
Mm.
I'm really grateful for business purposes and the ability to have that reach to be able to help people. Like I would never be able to help people all over the world if we didn't have it.
Right. I know there was like when we went to school, it was okay, that's your pen pal in Chile. Okay, so I'll write Patrick
Just
Waugh a
write a
letter.
letter.
Write a letter to Patrick Waugh, and I wrote a letter to Jaeger, and he didn't respond. But the guys in the grade
Aw.
to Waugh got something. But that's how it goes. Now you just inbox people that played in the NFL, and they come on. So
It's very cool. Well, and you know what? That's one of the big things too is for business is like having the ability to overcome the no's.
yeah.
Because you're going to get a bunch of no's, but then all of a sudden you get the yeses, right?
Also, you're not the only one, or I'm
No,
not. I'm not the only one.
no. That's like this is business. I write to a lot of people. And there's a ton of no's, but there are yeses in there, and the yeses are what keeps me going, keeps me at it, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, as soon as I think I run out of interviews, I reach out to people consistently, and then Caleb, who played for the Broncos, he emails me yesterday. Well, I got four next week. I got four. I usually do two, three, but I got four. So,
Wow.
that's and it was three this week. So maybe February will be a bit sparse, but it's a shorter one. Uh, so role models, mentors that have helped you.
Role models and mentors. Okay, so I'm going to say first and foremost would be my parents.
Mhm.
Um, they taught me and still teach me about hard work. They instilled hard work. And I think that's something that lacks today is hard work. Um, my parents are both like they're like 70 and 69. And although they're retired in that and they're not together anymore, but individually, they are both still the hardest workers, whether it's like around their yards or whatever. They're just very hard workers and very independent. And they taught me that. And I'm so grateful for that. Um, I think the only thing I would probably challenge them on is before they used to say, you have to work hard and you're born into circumstances and basically this is what your life is. I would probably challenge that gently and just, I think with a really great mindset plus hard work, you have the ability to become and be whatever you want. I'm a small town girl from Sault Ste. Marie that at 40 some years old decided this is what I was going to do. And people laughed at me. And I just, went through that laughter and basically in my mind worked hard and said, I'll show you. And here I am, right? Um, and then Tony Robbins, and I know people either
Mhm.
love him or hate him, but I love him. He taught me that your brain is your most powerful tool and the power of the mind. Tony taught me, like through NLP and that your past, you can change how your brain processes that. So it creates that inner feeling, a different feeling that you can learn from it and move forward, as opposed to holding on to these past experiences that hold people back for the most part. So, he's definitely been like a mentor for me. And Gabby Bernstein, I would say, is more my spiritual mentor. I think I lost myself in there. It probably took when my first son was stillborn.
Mhm.
That's what kind of sparked it. That I needed to have spirituality back in my life. And then she um, taught me it didn't have to look the way it looked for me. Like I was raised Roman Catholic in that there's other ways to be very spiritual and have that faith. Um, and it was more authentic to me. It was more in alignment with who I am. And, yeah, she just, because I think once I brought spirituality back, it allowed me to get myself into that flow state much, much more. Just, because I always know that there's something beyond me that is guiding me. So I think those would be my three. And actually, I'll throw another one in. I said some. I kind of made it out like my ex-husband was like a very negative person. There was like so many great qualities about him too, and one of them was he was probably the first person that when I'd come up with big ideas, he believed in me. Like
Mhm.
he did believe in me for things, because I have big ideas. Like I'm all about, so I I do appreciate like my experiences and that I had with him. It shaped who I am today and has brought me to he's a part of that journey, right? So just
Yeah.
being grateful for all of these people. And yeah, yeah.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Tony Robbins. The company I work for, a bunch of guys went down there to see him. And again, he's very well. He's much of an influencer, and it's also yeah, I agree.
Good.
It's important for people to believe in you because if people don't believe in you, then that creates that negative mindset, right? And
For
uh,
sure. And
mhm,
and you have to believe in yourself, but when yeah, I feel like in the beginning, before I knew what I know now, in the beginning, I needed somebody to believe in me, I think, before I could even believe in myself. So that's where that's years ago, right?
right.
Um, Now I believe in myself. I know I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. And I teach this to my son, who's 10 and a goalie.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, my son's going to be the goalie on the weekend, so uh, it's pacing.
He'll love it. How old is he?
He's almost 9, so
Yeah, okay. So
yeah.
you want to hope he doesn't like it? Because if he does, open up your wallet.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Well, yeah, and I've seen the prices in sports stores and all of that. So yeah, it has been quite the journey, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see
So
them
much fun.
develop that teamwork, and then
Oh,
again that belief. I'll get them dressed, and I'll be like, hey, have a good game today, okay, or
have fun.
daughter with the volleyball too. Can't leave her out, and just hey, give her today. And, even though I'm running around, pacing, and I do a lot of pacing. So,
So we need to calm that nervous system of
yeah,
yours.
yeah, we do. I should send you a
I have to
video of
teach you some strategies here.
when the Jays, again, when the Jays, I always talk about the Jays, when the Jays clinched to go to the World Series. My wife does have video of that. It is on the page.
I might
There was
have
a
to
lot
go
of
back and
jumping
look.
around, and yeah. So yeah,
So,
yeah. The pacing is because maybe the kid, maybe the kids see it. They do.
they
They learn a
do, and
lot.
they'll
They
learn
learn a lot.
it.
Yeah.
It'll be a learned behavior. Just like I learned not to like the Jays from my father. He taught me to like the Detroit Tigers.
Well, I remember when we talked on the phone, and as soon as I said, "Oh, you're a Jays fan," I'm like, "No, they're past London. All bets are off." Because you know, kind of did the math for your age there. So in '84, you would have been you know, under 10. And so
Yeah.
when they beat San Diego. So yes. So that was a belief system that your father put into you that you should be.
My father put that into me, same as Toronto Maple Leafs. And I put the Toronto Maple Leafs one into my son. And it's crazy because we'll be at my mom's boyfriend's
Mhm.
and he'll be cold and Bill will throw Gabe a Toronto blanket and he'll be like, no, thanks. He'd rather be cold.
Oh,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's so good. Yeah, it's the learned stuff, and yeah, yeah, it is those beliefs that we do get from all those years ago. And again, life, hockey, and when people say, "Oh yeah, it's just sports," no, it is more than just sports.
Way more than just
These
sports.
guys are
There's so
playing for
many things you
scholarships and
learn.
everything else.
Yeah, there's so much about sports. Like I don't like I tell Gabe, even if you don't like hockey, you're going in something because you need to be a part of some sort of team.
Mhm.
And you need to be able to challenge. Like there's so many challenges that you have to overcome in sports. So it's teaching you at a young age how to overcome and to become a resilient person, right?
Right.
And then along that process, I just tell him, like, you know what, you got to be questioning stuff all the way, like all the way through. Just because somebody says something to you does not mean it's true.
Right. Like questioning from coaches and that sort of thing, or just in
Well, not so much from
sorry,
coaches.
sorry. Yeah.
Coaches
Just in
would be
general.
experts,
Yeah.
but like, at 9, 10 years old, you got kids that are cruel. And so, I mean,
Mhm.
as a goalie, you have a bad game, now you suck. You could have had, a great season, but you have one bad game, you suck. Well, at 9 years old, they take it as I suck. They don't, and not even at 9 years old, because we're all the same. You could have 1,000 compliments given to you, but which one do you focus on? You always focus on the negative, right? So that's another thing. It's about learning how to focus on the positives and learn from the negative. So maybe you did suck that game.
Mhm.
What can you do differently the next game to get your game back, right?
Right.
Or to develop your game, be better.
Right. Because for every one bad comment, we need 9 to replace that one bad. At least that's what the stats said years ago. I'm not sure if that's changed, but again, there
Well,
is.
it's pretty similar. We always tend to focus. So your brain's main purpose is to protect you and keep you safe and alive. And that protection is protecting you from the negative. But in
Mhm.
that, it's also killing your self-esteem because you focus on negative. you have to think your life is what you focus on. So if you focus on negative, you get negative. If you focus on positive, you get positive.
That makes so much sense. It again, I'm thinking of examples, and yeah, that's so big. Where does Shannon plan to be in the next the 5-year plan?
5-year plan. Well, I would love to be able to see St. Marie. I would love to be in a bigger center with more, because for me, I prefer to be in person if I can work with people.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know if that'll happen because I have a young child and, just like even, he needs to be around his dad too. So that part, just in terms of business and that, I think I just plan to be doing what I'm doing. Like I hope to be working with more teams around the world. I hope to be working with more players and teaching them the strategies and just being really helpful. I'm working on a couple of things like an online program right now. Um, I actually have the program built. It's like a matter of recording it. It is so difficult. Like I get through a little bit and then I mess up and you get frustrated. And so it's in like recording, but yeah, I'll get it done eventually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's just, what brings me, like, what's very, like, brings me passion is to know that every day I get to help an athlete or a person to have control of their mind um, by teaching them the strategies, and then it changes their life. And that's like, I don't know, when you can help somebody change their life, there's nothing that feels better. There's nothing that feels better. Like an example that isn't even sports related, I had a client that didn't leave her home for 20 years because of one incident that had happened to her. And she didn't have to share the incident, but she told me about it. So her 3-month-old child died in front of her. And she didn't practice any CPR or anything. She froze. Fight, flight, freeze. She froze. So she was so guilty and just riddled with sadness that she had developed like a social anxiety and didn't leave her house like at all. And within one session of having a talk with her and changing how her brain processed that one event, she called me and left me a message later that day that she was out with her mom. And 2.5 months later, she had a job. So that is like completely
Hmm.
life change, like helping somebody get their life back, which is and just to show you the power of the mind, right? It's I don't know. That's what gets me up in the morning. That and my son.
I can see why you get up at 5 a.m. because yeah, when you're doing that type of work, that has to be that has to be terribly rewarding.
Mm.
And just again, that's what keeps you going and that sort of thing. Any plans to write any more books, or do you have any more books out?
I have a journal that I did like before. It's not like it's yeah, that's nothing really. I probably would write more books in the future. I don't really have the time to do that right now. Right now, I'm just trying to um, get my life, balanced out. But after that, I think I definitely would. And people, I mean, I could rewrite this book for other sports. Actually, right now I'm working on a football program for schools, like to help with their curriculum. So I'd go in and guest speak. So, I mean, I guess once I learn a little bit more about football and I have that language, then I could write something for football players. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. I don't, you know what? I haven't really thought about it's a big process to write.
Yeah.
Um, but it's rewarding also.
Yeah, I mean, when you're seeing the copies and somebody has it in their hand,
I know. When I get pictures and it's on somebody's coffee table or they'll be holding it, I'm like, they're like holding my book. Like I
right,
wrote that. Like,
right, yeah. Well, that's exactly it. And seeing James Duffy a few months ago. he has like 72 stories behind the scenes that he would never tell on TSN in this book that's sitting beside me here in Certified Beauties. And, he signs the book for me, the man who knows and remembers sports better than me. It's like, okay, well, this is kind of fun. I asked him about Super Bowl 36 and took him a bit to remember. And then he goes, oh, yeah, that's that one. And so, yeah, it creates that, author to audience relationship, no doubt.
Mhm.
And that's why I ask. Maybe if you're on a book tour, I'd gladly do the Q&A.
Oh, I love that. So I'll
I
have to
would.
keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just, you know what? I
I know
just
you're
never
busy. I
really,
know you're busy, but we can do.
we can do it. We can do it. And you know what? I've never been out west. I would really like to actually go out west.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds
I
good.
hear it's gorgeous.
It is. Right now the highways are a bit slippery, but once you get on the number one in the summer, it's beautiful.
I bet. I bet. And just like the scenery, right? I'm an outdoorsy person, so
Mhm.
yeah. Like I live on Lake Superior and I'm very grateful to wake up and just see the mountains and
Mhm.
hiking trails are right there. And yeah, it's beautiful. But right now it's a little bit of a challenge too. I've been snowed in 2 days this week.
Yes,
I can't get to
I've
town.
I've heard.
Mhm.
I kid a bit, but hopefully they don't bring in the army. That's an old joke. That was in Toronto, and that was
I think they do still in places like Toronto and that though, because
probably
there's no like they don't even have the ability to manage the snow there,
no,
and they're getting dumped on as well.
yeah, they are.
I mean, here we're kind of used to it.
Hmm. Yeah, you're kind of
I
more
just
in the dip
I
there.
do struggle. Like I said, twice this week I've been snowed in. Um, so you have to like rearrange your whole day and obviously, and then I like pace. Speaking of pacing, because I'm like, I've got energy. I need to move. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good, good. Was there anything else that I haven't covered that you'd like to talk about? It's always nice to get in the flow. This has been so good, Shannon.
No, not really, I don't think.
Mhm.
I don't know, this is a lot of fun. Like I am so grateful that
Yeah.
you like found me on Facebook and asked me and
Yeah.
like I said, I really enjoy like watching all the stuff that you do
Well, thank you.
now. It's the great thing about social media. And I know the younger kids laugh about Facebook, but I have to say, like, I don't really like I use Instagram, but I don't know how to use Instagram, and I don't find it's as for business purposes. I just don't
Mhm.
find for the type of work I'm in, or maybe I just don't know how to use it, but I like Facebook. I'm a little bit more comfortable with it.
Yeah, I totally get it. Some people say, "Well, it's easy to reach that person on Instagram." I haven't reached a single person on Instagram. The one guy
Yeah,
said,
and I
"It's
don't even have
easier."
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've had very few. I've had kids tell their parents, and then their parents check out my website, and then they'll email me from Instagram.
right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's uh, it's funny how that all works. But I always say everybody has a story. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a coach, well, whether you're a book author, public speaker like yourself, mental coach, performance coach, like that's huge. And that's why I want to hear it because again, journeys are important. People's lives are important, and that's at the end of the day.
absolutely, for sure.
Mhm.
And that's like, I think that's like, at the end of the day, I just want people to know, by just creating slight shifts in your thoughts every day, you can really change your life.
Yeah.
You can change your life. So if you're not happy with how you play or you're not happy with how your life is, first you have to figure out like what exactly do you want? Like what clearly tune in, what do you want your game to look like? Um, what do you want your life to look like? And then from there, like that's your starting point, like that's kind of your base. And then from there, you can create the changes and watch the little miracles happen. And like I said, even in my journey, it didn't happen overnight. It takes time, but just enjoy the process of it and just be grateful for all the successes that you have along the way.
Because it's so hard, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but at the end of the day, it's like there have been all these successes that have resulted to where we are today. So
Exactly.
yeah,
100%. But we never, we'll set goals and then when we accomplish them, we don't even stop and celebrate that.
no,
You got to stop and celebrate. Holy cow, I achieved this. Instead of like, yeah, you're gonna have another goal. Like my grandmother's 103 years old. She still has goals. One of her goals is to go to Jays games every year. She's a Blue
nice.
Jay fan.
Yeah.
Um, the other one is to go to Vegas, but she hasn't been able to for the last 2 years. Last time she went, she was 101. Um, but they're goals, and those goals keep her going. They keep her moving. They keep her thinking.
Hmm.
It's just, I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in life is that they forget, they just get complacent.
Yeah.
This is what life is, but the, it is if that's what you accept. Always have goals.
Yeah.
Always be working towards things.
I said 3 years ago that I'm taking the family down to Kansas City for a Chiefs game in 2026. So I already so the we don't know the schedule yet, but we've seen the opponents. I asked the kids last week. See, this season isn't even over, but if I don't plan for it, because I do the
That's
math,
right.
oh, my daughter will be out of the house in X amount of years. It's like you got to celebrate the now, because if you don't, and I know it's just a football trip, but it's like no,
Oh, that's an
what you like
amazing
to do,
experience.
right? Yeah, you
That's
know.
an amazing experience. My favorite experiences as a kid were my dad would take me to Detroit Tiger games.
Hmm.
And I remember he'd let me bring like a friend with me.
Yeah.
Um, and
Hmm.
I'd get so mad because they would talk and I'm like, I'm trying to watch the game. Shut up. But these were experiences. Like it's not just a football game or a baseball game. This is like it's pretty big. That's pretty
Yeah.
big. It's huge and it's something that they'll remember forever. And then they're going to want to have these traditions for their kids. And I took my son to his first Detroit Tiger game this year.
Right
He
on.
didn't like it. It was raining, it was cold, and he looked at me at one point during the game. I just remember his cute little face looks over at me and he said, Mom, it's not hockey. Because he's like, hockey.
Okay.
Mhm.
Crazy. And I just know with with my kids, yeah, we have the Bomber season tickets, and I got an extra ticket for them to take a friend, alternate the friends, and they love it. They go on the field, and it's a 7 hour event, but I don't care.
That's
Uh,
incredible, though.
it's so cheap in today's day and age too. If you haven't got your Bomber season tickets yet, do so. But it's like, oh, we do the selfie and we do the flag at the 50-yard line and all of that, and it just creates that memory of of those experiences because it brings me back to when I went to my Labor Day Classic in '93 with my dad and my brother and that sort of thing. And I just want to keep it going.
Sure. And then you keep it going. And do you notice? So I'm just going to point something out. Do you notice when you just started to think about that experience when you were a kid, that it kind of brought in the feelings as if it was happening?
Yeah, I know.
So that's the thing. You can use your ability to bring in past experiences to create really good emotion um, at any point in the day.
Yep.
If you're having a bad day, you can think about that and change your day. You can't experience two emotions at the same time.
All right.
So override negative with positive since we were talking about negative.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I wish we could continue, but I think I generally do about an hour, but as I said before, I think I pressed record that we can always do a part two. But I hope you have a great day, Shannon, and
I hope-
yeah, thanks so much for coming on and making the time. I do really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend. It's Friday, so
It is Friday, and we got hockey and football this weekend, so it'll all be good.
amazing,
And
amazing.
I'll put this on the page shortly after this, and we'll kind of take it from there. I'll put it on YouTube, and feel free to share it as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you kindly.
It's
Take care.
great meeting you.
Great meeting you. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.